All right, we're good to go. Welcome to our March meeting of the Budget, Capital, and Personnel Committee.
Oh, it's not.
Norma, your hand up?
2 days ago.
Right. Okay. All right. We don't really have any changes to the agenda other than the fact that there's a possible substitute motion for our resolution for Resolution B, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. We do have a public comment from Matt Phillips. Okay, that's fine. Just be sure you speak into the microphone.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Matt Phillips. I'm a homeowner in Dryden, and I work for the county. The comments I'm about to make are my own and do not reflect the department I work for, CSCA, or the Parental Leave Working Group. I am here to speak about the caregiver leave resolution, more specifically, the parental leave side of it. When I started here, my coworkers were already advocating for a paid parental leave policy. That was 7 years ago. I've been advocating for it since before my first son was born. Now we're expecting our second, and we still don't have it. I could list all the benefits: stronger bonds between parents and children, better infant health, lower rates of postpartum depression, improved employee retention, but I suspect you already know them. Instead, let's address the question I hear most often: how will we pay for it? Our parental leave working group asked Ulster County, which implemented paid parental leave last year. Their response: because employees are receiving their normal pay and most positions are not backfilled, they don't consider a measurable budgetary issue. In other words, other counties have already shown that policies like this can work. Some departments may need to shift work while someone is out, which could lead to overtime. Ask those departments, what's more expensive, paying overtime for a few weeks or constantly hiring and training new staff because retention is low? We already pay part of this. Birthing parents currently use disability leave, which is self-funded by the county. Passing this resolution would also mean the county no longer labels childbirth as a disability. Paid parental leave isn't a perk, it's a workforce policy. The county is investing $50 million in the Center of Government project, in part to improve employee experience. Paid parental leave would improve employee experience too, and for the people who work here today, it matters even more. I'd also highlight two of the county's values: equity and stewardship. Is it equitable to deny fathers or non-birthing parents the same opportunity to care for their newborns? Are we being good stewards of our human resources when employees come to work exhausted after caring for a newborn or a sick family member the night before? There are many things affecting working families that are outside the legislature's control: housing costs, inflation, energy prices, but this is something you can control. If there are still details to work out, those can be addressed during the policy process. But with this resolution, you have the opportunity to take the first step. The least you can do is give us the time to take care of our families when we need to. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, let us move on to the minutes. Could I get a motion on the minutes? Christie moves. Veronica seconds. Any questions or concerns? Irene?
I think it's page 3 of the minutes. It lists me as having voted and Greg Mezey as excused, and I believe Greg was here and I certainly was not. So just a slight correction to the minutes.
Did you get that, Taylor?
Yep.
All right, so with those changes, can we vote on the minutes, please? All in favor? Christie? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, appointments. We have one appointment of Christopher Spahn to the Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee for a term that would expire at the end of 2027. Do we need to vote on this, Taylor? All right, any questions or concerns? All in favor? I'm sorry?
Did we need to move in second?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess we do. Okay, Greg moves, Christie seconds. These advisory board appointments confuse the dickens out of me. I'm going to have to get a lesson from the clerks on how to handle these, but okay. It has been moved and seconded. Any discussions or concerns? All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. All right, Chair's report. I guess we'll start with WDIC. Veronica, take it away.
Sure. WDIC met on February 23rd. We welcomed some new members. Thanks for passing one more nomination on one more step in the process. We talked a lot about goals for this year, which we're in the process of prioritizing, thanks to all the committee members for your feedback. And then we spent the bulk of the meeting discussing the resolution toward adopting a paid caregiver or parental leave policy, and we'll discuss that later in this meeting, so I'll say no more right now.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Veronica? All right, so that moves us on to our committee goals. We discussed this at our meeting last month. I drafted up a summary of what we discussed. I sent it out to you. I didn't hear back from anyone, although Norma suggested that we add technology opportunities to our goals. Does anyone want to discuss this or have any changes that they'd like to make? Randy.
I thought you summarized them well, and I think adding IT makes sense.
Okay, thank you. All right, Veronica.
I agree with Randy, but wondering if someone can expand on technology opportunities, like opportunities to do what exactly? To replace staff or to streamline difficult processes or what?
Streamlining
And it's really,
operations.
for this committee, it would be investing on opportunities that would provide some better tools.
Of course, it looked like you wanted to.
No, I think we're just evaluating other resources that are available to help enhance our processes and improve the way we provide services to clients, at the same time manage and control costs to a certain degree. So I think pretty much.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Taylor, do we need to move these and adopt them formally? No. Okay. Well, then we'll just move right on to departmental revenue reporting, which I think was something that Randy asked for. Yeah. Corsa or Norma, I think this one's yours.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of the key issues that was raised by Randy is regarding, as at the time the issue came about, is where we are in terms of projected revenues for 2025, as against what is shown in our financial system. There have been several changes after that because of the timelines, delays, and issues like that. So we put a report together, department by department, as at the time, I believe last week. So even though we are presenting the report today, what is actually in the financial system can be different based on what has been booked since that day. So I invite Norma to have a quick run through the report and show you where we are and what we continue to do to make sure we keep our eye on our revenue projections and stay on top of our funding.
And in the interest of time, we will go through this relatively quickly. I tried to update a couple of the larger departments this morning. I'm hoping that in between all the things, I got everything right, but we have the majority of the updates in here. So just, this is not all inclusive either. I want to just say there are other departments that were not included when our team, the budget team, was going through the budget actuals. They actually captured, at the time, captured those departments that had, that were showing a deficit in revenue because that was the task at hand. I'm hoping I can get this to move now. Okay. So what we asked departments was the total revenue received to date, total reimbursement amounts submitted but not received, and the total reimbursement amounts pending submission. We also asked them to give us their projections on where the comparisons were and explain the revenue shortfalls. So most of the departments were able to do that or did their best to give us some information on that. So for the airport, you can see on the list of the information that they provided, but basically many things happened in 2025 for the airport. There was the customs facility changes. There's been some changes in security. They made some operating changes where they took over the parking and maintenance and such. So this is kind of a transition period for them this year. But all in all, they came in about $112,000 over their budget. So they had to use their fund balance to manage that difference in revenues.
I have a question, though. So they had planned on using fund balance all along,
Yeah.
right? So, and does this, their revenue include the amount of money the county provided?
That would be in the interfunds, yes, it
Okay,
would.
all right.
And it also, just to be clear, that it would have, their budgeted revenue would have also included the use of fund balance. So actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, that what they budgeted for use of their fund balance is that they came in less, needing less.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so would that mean less that we're going to fund is from the fund balance, or? is
Yeah, it would be this, we're talking about the CT fund balance, not the A fund. The A fund still would have contributed to the
It
budget.
just reduces how much of their fund balance.
That's
they use.
correct.
Okay.
So for assessment, at the time this was looked at, there was a greater deficit. Again, these are all points in time. This is what makes our budget so interesting. So as it turned out, they were underspent, under revenue, but also underspent by $67,000. For the assigned council, they are still over budget by $479,000. There are still a few, and you can correct me anytime I get this wrong, Daryl, but there are still a few payments that they're anticipating submitting for, but they probably will still end up slightly over budget, just based on the mandates.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, the revenue jumped a lot in a short period of time.
The expense.
Yeah. So are all the revenues you're showing, and this question is for all of these reports, actual revenue received or what they've planning to receive?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we record on a modified accrued basis, it is the revenue that is earned during that period. Some of it is received, some of it is not, and we are waiting on it. But all revenue in our ledger is earned based on accounting principles for that term. So if he had a grant that was to cover 2025, which a good chunk of that is, that revenue would have been recorded to the best of our knowledge to cover those expenses that he will be using or has used to get reimbursed from. Most of his has come in, some of it's still trickling in.
Okay, so the revenue that you're reporting for 2025, we billed it, so to speak.
Right.
We expect to get it back, but we may not have received it yet.
May not have, yes. In some cases we have, in some cases not.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thanks.
Can I ask what CAFA is? CAFA?
No, I know what you're asking. I can respond to the committee with what that is, because those are terms that we got from Lance.
So it's airport speak?
A little bit.
Okay. Irene?
And what does local share mean?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So the local share is what the tax, that's what would hit the tax levy. So when we talk about local share, you'll hear this a lot throughout the budget. That's actually what the tax levy would be paying for.
And so other stuff is paid, what, through grants or?
That's correct.
Okay.
Either state, federal,
Got
or local grants. Yes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So just to add a little bit to that is, we have about 3 or 4 sources of revenue: state, federal, other sources of revenue, and property taxes. So everything that is, so for the department level, they put their budget together, we subtract what the projected revenue they believe they can bring in, and the rest hit local, either whether we're using sales tax contribution or hitting the property taxes. So that's pretty much how we would. So local portion or local share is not just only property tax, but all the other revenue that we generate locally, including sales tax.
Okay. And while Corsa was talking, I got an answer. It's Council at First Appearance, CAFA, Council at First Appearance. So it's now if you want me to give you any more definition, I'm afraid that's out of my knowledge.
So is that's a grant stream that, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, Lee had a question.
Revenue earned when you record that, is that generally spurred by a voucher that the department has created? You've been given something that...
Some notification either by state, I'm sorry, Daryl's.
Yes, that's the main way. In most situations where they do is they submit a voucher to the state to get reimbursed, and it's based on certain expenses. And if those expenses were done in 2025, then we would record it in 2025, the revenue to match those expenses. In other cases, for some departments, they receive the revenue all up front, which we don't record as revenue till we earn it. In that case, there's not a voucher, but it's kind of the same principle, but it's already in our bank account.
So that's an interesting situation. It means that you've got a fund balance there, but eventually it's going to draw down and be designated as a revenue.
Yeah. But this is.
In a way, yes. The big one of that is like OASIS, mental health funding. They send us big chunks at a time, advances. And as it's earned throughout the quarters, that department lets us know and we record it as current revenue. Otherwise, it sits in a balance sheet account called deferred revenue. Or in mental health's case, due to New York State mental health, because it's due until it's earned.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, keep going. All right, so county administration, when you look at county administration, it's a very strange looking budget, and that's mainly because we still have the ARPA funding and the opioid grant funding passing through our department. So that's why I split this out on your document to show what our, the table at the bottom where it's 2.6 million, revenue 98,105. That's our actual operating budget for all divisions within the county administration department. The 9.6 million is not what it costs to run county administration. That's including the budget for the ARPA and opioid grant funds. And we came in under budget mainly because of vacancies, and we received a little bit of additional grant revenue.
So that's all passed through, basically?
Yes, it's all passed through.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you.
You're welcome. For the Office for the Aging, this is, I don't know if anybody's on, but I can tell you that they go through long periods of wait time to be able to even claim for reimbursements for their department. So we, presently, they are under budget, but there's variances between the overlapping. So sometimes they won't be billing for 2025 until late in the year, and then they won't receive until the following year. So their budget is kind of a difficult one to follow at times. Anything you want to add to that? Because you would have to agree that that's a difficult.
I work very closely with the Office of the Aging. She is correct. The budget for the grants their final allocation doesn't come in until later. Typically, the department gives me some type of estimates, and we talk about it, and whether we think it's close to actuals or not will determine whether we record it or not. But our new accounts receivable policy does require we put something quarterly. So,
thank you. Department of Motor Vehicle. Again, their revenue came in also underspent, and we had a net $88,000 local share unspent funding would go back to the fund balance.
Okay, Norma, I'm confused because it says that DMV exceeded its revenue budget, and yet it's showing a shortfall.
Yeah, that's because the the mortgage recording tax came in under. So so this is the grouping of both county clerk and DMV, because that's one department.
Okay.
So while DMV exceeded their revenue, county clerk.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Yep.
Randy,
Thank you for the question.
Randy, just consider you have a standing hand.
I'm trying to limit my questions so that it encompasses all of them. So in year-to-date, these are actual expenses for 2025. Are there any additional expenses that you anticipate will be pushed back to 2025?
Most of them have been encumbered, but.
We do have a cutoff. So at this point, we're not paying anything through accounts payable. We're doing everything through journal entries. So we're reaching out to each department. But at some point, due to timing, in order for my department to do the audit on time, there is a cutoff where there'll be a point where everything that comes in, unless it's significant, will go into the open year, which is 2026.
Which typically your cutoff time?
I'd like to say it's end of February, but we go through about mid-March, and the threshold goes up. So anything significant, we would get dinged if we didn't put it in the correct year. So as it gets closer to our audit, our field audit, which is mid-April, the threshold that I would record it goes up and up, depending on when it comes in. But we've reached out to most departments, and as far as I know, depending on when this report was pulled, most of the expenses should be in.
Okay, thank you.
Many of these were done. Like I said, I did a lot of these this morning. But if we have any encumbrances, so if they've spent the fund, if they're waiting to spend the funds for a service or something that they've purchased in 2025, that could carry through. But it's going to be booked back because they've already encumbered those funds.
When it comes to encumbrances, I already went through with my staff and we closed all encumbrances that weren't for items or goods that were purchased. So when it comes to accounting, if it's a service, it needs to be recorded in the year that the service was done. When it comes to goods or supplies, we record it when we receive it. So any POs or encumbrances that were open for those type of situations would have been left open to carry over to 2026. Anything for a service, we closed and we reached out to the department to get estimates or actuals to record it in the proper year. That way we didn't roll the PO or encumbrance over because that would force the actual in the wrong year.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a good correction. Services we would not continue to fund into the next year. Department of Social Services, this is incorporating both the mandate and non-mandated services. So you'll see that there was we received we underspent in expenses and we received less revenues than anticipated for the year. There was some overspending in child care and underspending in delinquent care. I think that maybe Thomas is still here if you have further questions for them, but basically these are all the mandates. It's in the mandated lines, not in their program lines that those came in short. Oh, okay. Emergency response, again, they underspent in countywide security because they hadn't filled the positions, emergency communications and emergency response grants, and then their revenues, we've been waiting for the rapid medical response revenues.
Is that the funding that Leah put in for us?
No, the RMR, I believe that's the funding we've been waiting for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Since the end of '24.
How much is that? That's like 600,000.
Yeah.
But that's a big chunk. Do we know what the holdup is?
I think one of the biggest delay on those was the contract. We never received the grant documents. I believe late last year, I checked in with Bridget that something was going to come in. I would just confirm that, but we never, even though there was a commitment, we never received the grant documents, and that delayed the process. But we went ahead, amended our budget, and spent the money. So those are some of the things that sometimes happens. But we will try as much as we can to control some of those processes to make sure there's a real, at least a executed grant document before we spend against some of those grants. So those are some of the things that we are working through to make sure it's in process.
That seems like something worth tracking down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money.
We have been, Bridget has been calling and checking and pushing
Okay.
to get a disbursement agreement. So yes, we'll follow up, but we will get it, but it's the state system sometimes delays significantly.
Sometime in my lifetime.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay.
Even in the next 3 years. Yeah. So in highway, roads, and bridges, they've actually underspent. $637,000 of fund balance was used to contribute to the debt and capital, which is what's showing them as a deficit situation. That was a approved expenditure in the 2025 budget. And highway machinery, they came in under budget for their expenditures.
And that's out of their fund balance, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So D and DM funds for those folks who are still trying to learn the budget. Planning and sustainability came in just slightly over budget by $8,224. This was, but much of their funding, their changes are just due to timing and variability and grants that they manage in that department.
Can I ask, on the expense line there, it looks like they spent less than they budgeted for, but the numbers reported as a negative. Shouldn't it be a positive?
You're right, it should be. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, if you were to add those two negatives, that would have been wrong. Yeah, thank you. We can correct that. Recycling waste management came in very close to what they budgeted, I mean, to their, well, they came in under their budget, but almost made all of the revenue for the expenditures. So they had to use about $43,000 worth of fund balance, and that's their fund balance, so that would be the CL fund to cover that expense.
That $42 a ton commodity price difference is pretty substantial.
Yeah, it is.
Are they?
They made adjustments for it for 2026.
Okay.
And it's come in low again this year, so they're watching it very closely.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and they adjust their expenditures to manage through that too. All right, the Sheriff's Road Patrol, they came in under budget, as it turned out. When this was being researched, it was, there was a deficit, but they've, all in all, they came in under budget. And same with corrections was just slightly over. That's likely due to the mandates, because they have a mandated component within that budget. Tourism, this one is they had to use some of their reserves. And I don't know if Nick is here, but I would let Nick come in and explain to you if you have further questions about this. But what they budgeted, what they received here today are under, but they had to use some of the reserves as well. So that would have adjusted that total year-to-date figure.
Greg, I thought they were trying to build their reserves up. This is STPB, right?
Yeah. With STPB, the recent report that we just had was that they're ending the year with a little bit that brings their reserve back close within range.
Okay.
Yeah, they're working on it. There was a slight dip of use of some of that, but then they're working to get it back up, and part of the budget process is making sure that that's maintained.
Thank you.
Okay, and transportation planning they will still be collecting some additional revenues, so they anticipate coming in on budget. So right now it's showing a $97,000 overage, but they do expect to have additional revenues coming in.
So this is one that's changed, this is one that's changed from what was in our packet.
Oh, yes. Yeah, these are one of the ones that I updated this morning. So it's at a deficit right now of $97,000. And again, like I said, he's waiting for some additional revenues to come in. Veteran Services changed from the packet. They had to submit it for the Dwyer funding, so now their revenues are at $88,314. So with the underspending and the under revenue, they just overspent by $8,000 in that budget. I do not believe we have any additional funding coming in for that budget.
And that too is one of the ones you just adjusted
That's one of
today?
the ones I adjusted, yes.
Okay.
Whole health, I adjusted that this morning as well. You'll see that's a significant change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually are under budgeted by almost $2.2 million. They had an additional I think it was 1.3 million added after the time that we submitted this. So that's the a lot of changes happen with these bigger budgets at the 13th period. For youth services, they came in under budget. There was a position that they had left vacant, and they postponed some projects for that. And that was it. Try to answer other questions if you have them. Yeah.
Well, not a question, but just an observation. It seems like underspending made our circumstances a lot less dire. But I don't know that we can continue to count on that. I hope we can do better on revenue projections than this tends to indicate.
Yes, most of the time the underspending is vacancies.
Right.
Don't forget, we also factor in almost about 2.5% vacancy rate. So all that also comes into some of the equations. And yeah, and I agree, we just have to project better in our revenue and make sure we understand the true cost of services at the time we are putting the budget together. So.
Thanks. Randy and then Lee.
Lee was first.
Lee, then Randy. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, public safety meeting last week or 2 weeks ago. I noticed some of the resolutions were grant acceptances or adjustments year by year, and that's kind of a change in policy, isn't it? Or a change in the manner that they're being done. You're accounting for it more broken down than we have in the past. Is that true?
Well, we've actually requested that. In some cases, they're budgeting for those, so they're directly going. We're asking departments to budget for those differences. So if they know they're not going to spend their grant in 2025, for example, we ask them to budget in 2026. I think the times you get the resolutions are when there's so many unknown variables, they can't calculate what they expect they're going to have for 2026. So that's why you are getting some of those resolutions, I believe. I think most of those were for the emergency response. Yeah, and they had a lot of things going on at the end of 2025, and they were unable to anticipate at the time. Of course, they were submitting their budgets in June. So by the time when they were submitting their budgets, it was hard to determine exactly where they were going to be by the end of the year.
I know in years past, even though they might be a multi-year grant that could be spent over a period of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you tended to accept and adjust for the full amount and the revenue and the expense. And then at the end of the year, the comptroller would do the adjustments and carry over what needed to be done. So it's a little more stringent than what I'm used to seeing, and I think that will answer.
It has changed since you've been the department head.
Yeah.
And it was changed since I was here before, too.
I think one of the things that we are trying to do is the resolution that you usually approve to accept grants usually comes with a budget amendment. We are hoping to take that budget amendment piece out so that you write the resolution to accept the grant, to give us authorization to move ahead and execute the disbursement agreement. But when then we work with the department to establish exactly how much they want to spend so that we amend the budget to that effect. If you remember, I think we had few of those in November. And my question to the department is, are you anticipating spending anything this year? It says no. And we took the budget amendment portion out of the resolution. So that's why we're looking to work with the department to get into the flow. So most of the grants disbursement or grants resolution that will be coming up will not have the budget amendment component. It's just to accept it. And then when we get a disbursement agreement all done in place, then we do the budget amendment to move forward in spending the money.
Yeah, if I can just add to that real quickly. So in a couple of occasions, even this year, we had folks that had grants coming through and wanted to do a budget amendment, but they budgeted for the expenditure, and there was no real need to adjust those revenues. So as long as they have the authority to spend the funds, we've not increased the revenue, because the revenue can come in whether they've budgeted for it or not. It's making sure they have the authority for the expenditures. And as long as they have that, we've not adjusted the budget.
Okay.
Randy?
Thank you for doing this. It's good transparency, and I thank all the departments for looking at their budgets. Looks like a lot of them are right on spot for a lot of things, and it's good to see all that anticipated revenue balancing things a little bit from just a month ago. I think it's good to shed light on these things. I think that the county, since I've been here, has done a much better job of really looking at their budgets and analyzing things and documenting things. I think policy changes are good. Will we, for our budget retreat, which I think is in May, will we get a summary of all this from all the departments so that when we look at our budget, we can say this is how we ended up in 2025? Okay.
We should have that by then, yes.
Okay.
So I think we are hoping to get the year close and a period hoping. So that will give us a true picture of where every single department is, and we can provide a report at the retreat, yes.
Okay. What would be helpful too is to maybe summarize whatever additional revenue you may expect in that budget or not. So
we usually include that in our budget planning, our budget meetings with the department if they're projecting new revenue or new programs coming in. So sometimes they do, if there's a commitment, they do put it in their budget process. But throughout the year, most of the resolution that you see are some of those new ones they have identified, gone after, and has been approved. So yeah, there is a broader commitment from all our departments seeking additional revenue from different sources to augment what they do or improve services or offer new services that the county cannot shoulder by ourselves. So kudos to our department, they do that very often. And I think we discuss, hopefully maybe next year, having somebody, a county administration overseeing grant programs, and will help us to improve or increase that effort as well.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on this? Okay, if seeing none, we'll move on to Daryl's multitudinous reports. Norma?
I'm sorry, so just on the county administration reports real quick, just reminder that we have budget training this week with the New York State comptrollers, and I'm working on trying to put together a budget 101 training just for county work, the county budget process. So I'll be sending out some information on that.
Thanks, Norma. That'll be really helpful. And I'm sure our new cohort will really appreciate that. All right, then. Daryl.
Good morning. I have my quarterly reports that I typically do after for sales tax, cannabis, and all that. We'll start off with the casino revenue. So for the fourth quarter, we came in at $626,700. What this is about a 2% increase over the fourth quarter last year. And overall, year to date, it is a 4.8% increase to the casino revenue from last year. compared to last year. And on this packet, page 26, it just shows a comparison in graph form of 2020 through 2025 in each of the quarters.
So Daryl, this is almost $500,000. Where does that go? Does that just go in the general fund?
Correct. We've budgeted 2.1 million, so 2.1 million of that, it goes to cover our budget. Anything exceeding that just goes into the general fund.
Greg?
You remember when we used to just budget like $100,000 a year because we couldn't count on casino revenue? It's amazing how consistent it's been over the last several budget cycles. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit uncomfortable about budgeting for it because it's
been consistent for the last 10 years.
Well,
You don't like to gamble on it?
say what?
You don't like to gamble on it?
No, I don't. Not with other people's money, anyway. Go ahead.
The next one's my fourth quarter 2025 sales tax. On the screen right now is packet page 30, and that just shows that for the fourth quarter, we received in Tompkins County sales tax-wise $21.5 million, which is a 1.95% increase compared to last year's fourth quarter. Year-to-date is $83.8 million, which is a 3.5% increase compared to year-to-date of last year. Now, that's all sales tax collected in the county. The county's portion mimics it, but is $12.1 million in the fourth quarter, 1.95 increase, and $47.1 million year-to-date, which is a 3.5% increase.
And that's another million or so that goes into the, yeah, okay.
Correct.
Well done, Randy.
The next page shows just a different graphical view of it, showing 2022 through 2025 and comparison to the budget on the right. We went above budget, I want to say about 3.3% if looking at just the unallocated sales tax, because there is a portion of the sales tax per the sales tax agreement that goes to cover certain items. Does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
We never have questions when you bring us good news, Daryl.
Right.
I've noticed that. The next one is the fourth quarter 2025 adult use cannabis tax or cannabis revenue. So Tompkins County gets 25% of it, 75% of it goes to the municipality where it was sold. On page 33 of the packet, which is on the screen, kind of shows the graph of everyone of where it went, and 29,000 went to Tompkins County from October to December 25th, or the fourth quarter. The next page shows a graph kind of the total amounts. The total amount collected in 2025 fourth quarter was 117,000, and it looks like it's kind of stabilized a little bit since this is kind of a new revenue as of 2023. Any questions?
We don't budget this, right?
We did in 2026, we did not in 2025.
Okay, how much did we budget for in 2026?
I can verify to make sure, but I want to say it was around 50,000.
Oh, okay, so we're not.
Not much, we were conservative. Because
That's
this,
fair.
like most what I'm showing, it's something that can go up and down and it's hard to predict.
And it's been pretty disappointing, frankly. So, Randy?
Let's go up and smoke, Irene.
I was going to do it and then held off.
Randy?
I'm going to use this opportunity to slam the Office of Cannabis Management. I've sent them 4 emails, and I continue to get emails from them saying, we've received your email, and thank you, we'll be in touch shortly. This has been going on for 3 or 4 months. I contacted Leah Webb's office. They've been trying for a few months, and they're getting the same response from them of no feedback whatsoever.
What are you trying to find out?
How they do licenses,
For the farm?
Right, but also that in Newfield, they show on their website that there is a cannabis store. I know it's there. I know people that go there, and we receive no revenue in Newfield. So, and in their website, they've got numerous websites, and they contradict each other. So it's just a really poorly managed outfit, and I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
I do want to add, as far as my information shows, we have 9 dispensaries in Tompkins County. Okay, next report is fourth quarter 2025 for investment. Starting with package page 36, this kind of shows the breakdown of where all of our current cash as of December 31st, 2025, and what banks. The majority is in Tompkins. I can't see the colors on here. It looks like Tompkins Community Bank.
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe next time not 2 shades of blue, because I was looking at this trying to figure out which one was which.
Kind of repurposing my the old director's charts currently, but I will change that because that is difficult to see the difference there. But ultimately, the 2 biggest portions of our money is sitting in Tompkins Community Bank and night class at the moment. The next one kind of shows down based on the breakout of type of instrument, bank instrument. I broke out the checking based because we have a great relationship with Tompkins Community. One of our checking bank accounts gets 3.1%. So I broke those out, so there's 2 columns for the checking accounts. I will say that the regular checking does look kind of high, but a lot of that's due to timing. Payroll and accounts payable at the end of the year was over $5 million. And we do have over 10 funds, so each one of those funds has their own checking account, so each one holds a balance at some point, especially at the end of the year. We are looking to fine-tune that more and more every day.
What's New York class paying these days?
It is a pooled investment cooperative. It's municipalities, they pool all the money together and they invest it in investments that are legal. Sorry, I can look this up, and it's been a while since I've looked up what a New York class is.
It's legal, yeah.
Yes, it's all based upon New York, what's legal within New York State. Pretty much it's a cooperative that they pool all the investments together for all the municipalities, and they invest it, and it's 100% liquid, which is really nice, and the rates are normally pretty good. It goes up and down with the market, so we do try to diversify with certificates of deposits and other investments and follow our investment policy.
Do you have a range for what the return is on New York class?
I think it's right now 3.8%.
Okay, thank you.
It's been slowly going down, but
Well, yeah.
actually it says on the next page, or it should.
It does?
I can get that information to you. The next page does show the percentages for all the instruments, excluding New York class, unfortunately. And this just shows all the rates that we're getting for the certificate of deposits, the money markets, and the savings.
Mostly 3s. About a year ago, they were in the 4s, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Low 4s, give or take. It's slowly going down with the rates.
Irene?
On the CDs, is there some sort of ladder structure as to when they come due? And can you sort of give us a clue, you know, the one that's earning 4.6% interest? I mean, hopefully that one's around for a long time to come, but, you know, I'm just wondering when these different ones cash in.
I don't have that information at my fingertips. I can say we have to ladder in order to maintain cash flow purposes.
Sure.
We typically don't go farther out than 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year. As we iron out our cash flow better, we're going to look to invest in longer if it's lucrative. But I can provide that information, but we do ladder it to ensure that we have enough to, because no matter where the money is, our bills still have to be paid, our payroll still has to happen. So we ensure we have the cash necessary for that.
Great, thanks.
Randy?
You guys have done a really good job the last couple of years of managing this money, and it's really shown in the revenue you're receiving, and it's a big change. from just 4 years ago. So really appreciate that. Looks like you're about $1 million over what you budgeted, roughly?
Yes, I did want to point out some little details in that. So of the budgeted amount, 2.3 of that is budgeted in the general fund, otherwise known as the A fund. Now, of the amount received, we received 3.3 million in interest, but only 1.9 million of that is in the general fund. And I just wanted to point that out because it does look like overall we're doing fantastic budget to actual, but actually in the general fund, we're under budget. And that interest revenue stays in the budget. A lot of it is due to the interest we've earned on our bands, which goes back to the debt service to cover debt or anything in projects per the state comptroller has to go back to debt service to help pay down debt.
So less than the 2.3 million goes to the A fund, only 1.9?
Correct. And I just wanted to point that out because I didn't want it to look like we went way above the budget in the general fund, which is the one we tend to focus on.
So most of this money would go to debt service in capital?
A good chunk, yes, a significant amount.
Thank you.
I want to say at least 800,000, give or take. I'd have to look to find the exact numbers, but anything in a capital project, unless budgeted in the capital project, goes to the debt service to cover debt service.
All right, thanks.
Any questions on the investment report?
I just want to say, I don't know if for the new ones here, when I came here last year around this time, we have over $100 million in the checking account. We've made a lot of prudent decisions investing our resources, and thank you to our finance team. We are in a very good shape, and I had a conversation with Darryl and also Lee, what's her name again? Before she left, and Laurie, we were on the same page of investing our money, and I'm very excited to see the checking account line lower than the investment line. So thank you to finance and what they've done.
And thank you, Randy, for being such a nudge.
Next report is our fourth quarter contingency account report. And this just shows where we ended with the contingency account at the end of 2025. So what it looks like is we still had a remainder of $424,000 in the contingency account that we did not expend or move to another account in 2025.
But that's after we moved 800,000 extra dollars in.
That is after all transactions, meaning the budgeted and the increase of 800,000.
Yeah, Greg?
I'm very happy today because I feel like this is a lot of reporting that many of us have been asking for a long time. And to be able to have this, and especially this report, I often felt like we were writing checks without a check register when we were voting on the contingent fund. And to be able to see this all come together, I know it takes a lot of work and putting systems in place, et cetera. So just want to make sure we take a minute to recognize that because this is great. This is really good information and something that I hope is a regular part of our, conversations moving forward. I'm not sure what BCP looked like in the last couple of years because I wasn't a part of it, but to have this for me it's a good day.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the next page is the mandate contingency, which we put $330,000 into it. And we had to add an extra $20,700, but that one was completely exhausted as of 2025.
And for those of you who are relatively new to this, apparently that came from an unexpected windfall of grant money that came into Whole Health. And rather than spend it, we just put it in a mandate contingency fund, which turned out to be a really good idea. So thank you, Norma.
For shelter services is where it ultimately
Yeah, I
spent.
think so, yeah.
What's the difference between a mandate contingency fund versus the general contingency fund?
So I think, as Deb indicated, this mandate contingency was created to put money in there to pay for things we must pay for. So, for example, if you look at where we spend the money, the THA shelter, because our costs did significantly go up, and we moved that money to pay for that service. So it's a mechanism that was created internally to ring-fence the county a bit for those things we must pay. So, assigned council, we have a mandate there. That is the reason why the budget was so overblown, because there are more cases than we anticipated to pay for people who need representation. We have same in social services. We have similar in whole health and other department as well. So this is more of a separation to be able to know where, how we are using our contingent account for what purposes. So it helps us to be able to keep an eye on how the mandate is performing and the costs thereof.
Okay, so it's specifically for mandated programs that we have to deliver. Okay, got it, thank you.
It's like getting an unexpectedly large bill from NYSEG, and you have to figure out how to pay for it.
And those,
Christy.
when you say mandated and we have to pay specifically by New York State, right?
It could be federal as well.
Okay, thank you.
Lee?
You pointed out this was created with unexpected revenue, and we've zeroed it out. We didn't continue this as a regular budget line item moving forward, did we?
If you remember, and the fear of shelter expenses, another thing that we're expecting also with assigned council, during the budget, I believe we put like 1.4 million. Yeah. And it was emptied to be able to get to the 3.something% that was approved. So yes, for the 2026 budget is zero.
But we did say that we would use money from contingent fund?
Yeah, so we can, so for example, if we run out of our contingent account next month and the mandate exceed our budget, we have to go into a reserve, we have to go into our fund balance to appropriate funding to pay for that. So we have to pay for it anyway, but the only time we could pass something on to the taxpayer is at the budget period. That's the reason why we created during the budget to be able to provide ourselves some ring fencing, I would say. But at the end of the day, after the budget has been passed, everything has to be contained internally if we have resources. So that's the reason why this is helpful during the budget period to make those critical decisions, because when we pass the budget, you can go back to the taxpayer and ask for more money.
My point just is that this doesn't exist now.
It's empty. The line is there, but it's empty.
Right.
Well,
we didn't appropriate to refill that. We've appropriated to continue the contingency.
That's correct.
If you'll recall, there was a proposal in Corse's budget to put X number of dollars in a mandate contingent fund, and in order to keep the levy down, there was an amendment that said that we would take that money out of the general fund if it was needed.
Right.
So it is at zero, but it's not that
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not that we think we might not ever need it. It's just that if we do, we're going to have to take it out of fund balance.
Well, my point is we're not appropriating to continue to have this fund. We'll go back to the way we did things before we had that windfall.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a bad thing, but.
Accounting. All right. Anything else, Daryl?
Do you want to add that the interest rate for New York class at the end of 2025 was 3.79?
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report. However, I can answer questions if necessary.
Any other questions for Daryl?
No, just keep bringing reports like this in every.
Yeah,
quarter.
just keep making more money than we expect.
No pressure, Daryl.
Yeah.
None taken. I'm going to try to tweak some of the reports over time just to give a little more information, but.
No, this is really good, and I second Greg's compliment on your efforts. All right. HR.
Good morning.
Only good news, Ruby.
Yeah, I will save the bad news until April. Good news today. In order to expedite the time, our HR report today will consist of a short video that was initiated by our Employee Engagement Committee, working with our former Media Productions Assistant, Rob Henry, and our February report of HR contacts, which will reflect some of the recruitment and retention numbers that we deal with in HR. In April, I will be bringing forth an overview of the open enrollment changes with the additional plan offering, and which lists the savings to the county, the employees, and the health consortium share. I will also be submitting a resolution for contingency funds to supplement the transition from our split individual plans to a family plan based upon the consortium's directive to discontinue split plans for retirees under 65. So.
Do you have a ballpark?
80.
80? Oh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, which comes into our savings with our additional plan, but, you know, where there's light.
This is just a 1 year.
This is just a 1 year supplement.
Okay.
And with that, Samantha is going to show a video, which we're very proud of.
Yeah.
And then Larry will come with our numbers. Sidekicks are here today, Deborah.
Yeah, we just want to thank the communications team for creating this awesome video, and all the employees who volunteered for the project. It's pretty awesome. So we'll let Chris do his thing.
I really enjoy the work that I do, and I enjoy the people I work with, both my coworkers and our program participants. I've been working in human services for probably about 30 years now, and this is the best human services work I've ever done.
I grew up in Ithaca and have always cared a lot about sustainability and saw myself having a career inside of sustainability. It's such a privilege to work with the residents and business owners and schools in Tompkins County, where I grew up.
Tompkins County is welcoming and beautiful. They really celebrate and value diverse voices. It's a safe community for people who are different in some way. It's a safe place to be yourself.
I just passed my 6th anniversary working for the county. I've really enjoyed being part of Tompkins County because this has provided me the opportunity to serve my brothers and sisters in the military, former military, in a different way. Being in this job, it's really, I try to look for ways to do what I call a Tompkins County style, which is to take everything up a notch.
The work that I do touches every corner of the county and people of all different backgrounds, and I think that really means a lot to me. I also love the folks that I work with in my department and across other departments. A lot of folks just trying to help out and make things better for people who live here, and that feels great every day coming in and knowing that I'm making a difference.
I was originally with a different county. I actually have a child on the way, so I saw that the pay here was much better and the benefits as well, so decided to make the move to Tompkins County. Overall, people have been super friendly, introductions went great, very personable people, welcoming environment.
Every day I get to contribute to a community that values innovation, collaboration, and equity. And I believe that being part of this community is meaningful, it's impactful. I get excited every day because I get to change lives, I get to contribute to positivity within the community, and it's really exciting place to work.
I am from Danby, so I've grown up here my whole life, and it's just the fact of working with the county was actually one of my goals. The retirement was a huge factor for me.
What brought me here is the fact of helping people. Once I got into the county, though, I realized that the level of support is amazing. From the commissioner to directors to supervisors, everyone is approachable, friendly, helpful, and it's really great to have that leadership. The benefits here are amazing comparatively to other places. The pay is amazing. There's so many great benefits and reasons for working here.
Nice, good feeling, right?
I'm disappointed that no one mentioned how wonderful it is to work for the county legislature.
The first of many. We will showcase
okay.
it later.
Yeah.
Next time.
Have them interview them about 11:30 at night when we're adjourning.
Randy?
I think the quality of the resolution was just incredible. It's like a television show. It was really great. I was impressed.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
And this will be placed on our website, and doing more continuous things, have a few more things just to highlight Tompkins County and what we're good at.
Yep.
And that was Rob's passing gift to us, and we are very grateful for the production.
Nice. Thank you all.
Larry?
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm going to give some numbers here for some of the new folks here, especially with the staff totals. So this is a snapshot at the end of February, right? So the numbers aren't always exact from day to day, and then that's how these things work. So if you have questions, feel free. February was 810 county staff. And then there was also 326 election workers and 31 JTPAs, which is the Job Training and Partnership Act, which is what Workforce runs. Recruitment, so there's 18 county positions are posted on our vacancy page, and there were 55 positions with our municipalities, so that's 73 positions that are posted on our vacancy page. Outreach, so TST BOCES had an open interview day. Myself and Sierra from our office went up and assisted with that, where we could approve applications on the spot and talk to folks about not only working for TST BOCES, but other opportunities. Targeted recruitment emails that we do, our online postings, and of course the Chief Equity and Diversity Officer search was wrapping up in February. For applications, we processed 464 applications. 266 were for our municipalities, and 198 of those were for county positions. We posted 3 civil service tests, got 10 applicants. There were 3 tests given, with 6 people in attendance. We onboarded 8 new county staff. For benefits, we had 4 of those folks sign up for our health insurance, 2 for the dental. Retirement, 10 folks signed up for retirement total. Some of our JTPAs actually sign up for retirement. They're giving the whole talk about the benefits of getting in early. For leaves, we had 24 disabilities leaves, 11 cancer screenings, 7 bereavement, and 1 jury. And for staff trainings, I'm going to let Samantha talk about that. That's what she does.
Yeah, so we had 3 trainings in February. The first of 5 introduction to ergonomics trainings that are happening. There's actually a couple more left if anybody's interested. One on the 17th and one on the 9th. Those are with Todd Baker from Empowerment Ergonomics, and he works with us a lot on ergonomic stuff. I also did a Myers-Briggs team building session with the county department, and then our 5th session in the leadership development series happened. It was on the topic of a manager's role in onboarding. So we talked about everything onboarding related. And our final one in the series is happening in March, so this month. And I'm working on getting details set up for our next one, which should be in the fall.
All right, Irene. Yeah, Larry, I know I've sat through and heard you give numbers, each time you're here. I wonder, and I don't want to like pile a bunch of work on you, but for me, the graphs that Daryl gave are a lot more helpful to me than just hearing numbers, to be able to see trends. I mean, I don't, do we lose people more in the summer? Do we, whatever? I'm just curious as to the overall trends, maybe, within different breakdowns of, administrative jobs versus, blue collar work, or, I'm a little bit more interested in the trends than every month hearing numbers. And I don't know if that's easily done, hard to do.
Yeah, pretty difficult to do with our current application system we have. It's super outdated. It doesn't really pull data at all. It all has to be manually done, pretty much. Hopefully when we get this new system that we're working on now, it's supposed to have way better analytics to pull a lot of that information from.
Okay, cool.
Perhaps we can go like the January totals, February totals into a graph so you can see the trends monthly.
Okay.
It may not be able to pull individual items out of that, but you can see the totals that Larry's given and where it flows. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate. When do you expect the new software to be on? Sore subject, huh?
To be determined.
To be determined. We're doing pretty well. We've just actually we had to enter every job description, re-enter it into the system manually.
Wow.
We're thankful that we had an intern to assist us, but that was almost 1,000 job descriptions that had to be entered into the new system.
Oh, man.
So we don't have a go live date yet. We're doing it step by step so we can make sure that it actually follows our workflow rather than the standard package.
Nice.
So to be determined.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing that kind of grunt work to get it done and up and running. I know that's
have a great staff.
New software is never fun.
No.
Great staff.
We have a question from Iris.
Hi, thanks for the report. I'm not on the committee, but I'm just listening in today. But I was curious if you have data over, I know you said quarterly folks who are out on leave. Do you have data for quarterly or yearly of how many folks took leave, parental related leave, whether for themselves or I guess it would be disability leave if they were the birthing parent?
I am not sure, but I will check when we get back. Sherry Murray does all of our leaves, and I know she's got spreadsheets for lots of things. Let me see what she's got, and I'll let you know, all right?
Thank you.
Christy.
One last thing while we're talking about data and analytics, and I really appreciate what you brought up, Irene. I think it's a great point. It would be useful to see the specific departments where people are taking leave, just so we can see if there's any stressors coming from particular places. And as we talk about these larger conversations about kind of identifying and flagging some issues early on. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? I bet y'all are glad you came.
Always. Favorite committee.
All righty. Okay, moving on to resolutions. We have Resolution A, authorization to accept funds, create position, and complete a budget adjustment, crisis alternative response and engagement licensed clinical therapist, whole health, ID 13854. Randy moves. Veronica seconds. Thank you. Who wants to speak to this?
I am here online if you.
Okay, Jenny, why don't you tell us about this?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I think I've met you all, Jenny, Commissioner at Whole Health. So sorry, my brain is in a million places here today. I admire Corsa and Norma for also leading us through all of our budgets so clearly earlier. So we're really fortunate to be in a position where we're receiving some funds from the city to kind of support half of a position for a care team member that will be partnered with IPD. And so the other half of the funds are internal to Whole Health, and the funds that are coming to us from the city historically have funded the community outreach worker program, but the city is sort of manning that entirely themselves, and so we are fortunate to receive these funds from them to be able to support another care team member with IPD.
So
this brings us also sort of in parity with the sheriff's department. We have 2 care team clinicians with the sheriff, and so now it'll be great to have 2 with IPD as well.
So I just wanted to be sure I understood. The city's paying 65. Where's the other 65 coming from? Is that something we budgeted for?
Yes, we budgeted for that. We historically, the county had also contributed to the community outreach worker program. And so we are not contributing to that anymore. We are instead repurposing those funds for the other half of this care team member.
So this is cow funding?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Iris?
Thanks, Jenny. Is this going to be an additional team member? Like this will be expanding the care team?
Yes, we're going from 1 to 2.
That's fantastic. I have to say, I've interacted with the care team in various contexts, and I think it's an amazing initiative and has really made a huge difference in people's lives. So I'm grateful this is an opportunity.
Great, thanks. I will pass that back to them as well.
Okay, any other questions? Irene?
This isn't a question, but just Jenny, while you're here, and please pass on to your staff appreciation for the engagement that they've been doing the past few days with the Asteri situation. I met some of them when I was stopping in at the library to check in, but, you know, I mean, certainly appreciation to all of our staff, but you're here to thank right now, and so I just wanted to pass that on.
Absolutely. I mean, all the credit is to, we've got a lot of clinicians that were there and community health workers. So it was also a really good opportunity to really kind of feature sort of the integrated model that we have, and that both of those teams came together to support residents. But I will certainly pass it back to them. They've been absolutely outstanding, and really, we're happy to come when called.
Yeah, and I think it also speaks to your training and background in emergency response situations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions on this? Are we ready to vote? All in favor? Thank you, that's unanimous. And now we're moving on to Resolution B, adoption of caregiver leave policy for Tompkins County employees. Who wants to move that? Christy? Veronica seconds. Okay, now, I want to talk about this briefly, because I think this resolution, as it was submitted, kind of got ahead of itself. And so I would like to offer a substitute resolution, which is on your desks, that puts us back where we should be, which is to take the work that Team Jedi did and the recommendation from WDIC and send that to our staff, who are the people who should be drafting resolutions, and then it'll come back to us when they've done all their good work. So I'd like to offer that as, I guess, an amendment, if that's friendly to the mover and the seconder.
Yes.
Is it unfriendly to anyone? Okay, so that becomes the resolution. Greg, I see your hand.
No, I was going to second you if you needed a second.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, there are a lot of options here that we can pursue. One is that this is a totally county-paid program. Another is that we default entirely to the state caregiver leave program. And another possibility is a hybrid. I know that we pay people anyway, no matter what kind of leave they take. And from that perspective, there's no huge additional cost to this kind of a program. The cost comes in with the burden on our HR department to administer this program. And as you may have noticed, they're kind of busy. So I was thinking that we might want to consider the alternative of doing this through the state program. We'd have to sell it to the unions, and I understand that. But if only 20% of their membership doesn't want this, I think they'd be hard-pressed to refuse it. And then the county can make up that extra 33% from its own funds, but that would be a more or less automatic procedure because we would be depending on the state's program to determine if someone's eligible. If they're eligible, all we have to do is pay them the extra 33%. So I'm asking that our HR department, our county admin, and our county attorney consider those three options and come back to us with what they consider is the best alternative. And now I'd be happy to hear from everybody else. Lee.
More of a question for Corsa and Norma. How would this impact, and maybe this is to be developed individually into the departments, because I'm thinking of quite a bit more potential backfill time.
Yeah.
And typically the department has to underwrite the first 8 weeks. But if you've got shift workers, minimum staffing levels, whether they're corrections officers or sheriffs or highway or dispatchers, you've got a situation now where you're going to add not only the expense to pay for someone that may not be backfilled, but where you do have to, you're going to have the time and a half coming in. And, you know, I'm in favor of the policy. I just don't want to see departments strangled under new costs that they really can't account for under their target budgets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's one part of the study we need to undertake and identify the true burden that we need to bear. And one department you did not mention, maybe mental health services, they have individual clinicians with caseloads. So in an event of a clinician taking a parental leave of those periods, we have to repurpose or move some of those cases to other clinicians, and they all have mandated number of cases they can contain. So there is hidden burden we need to evaluate and determine the process of filling those gaps in an event they occur and to what cost. So there's a lot of work we need to do administratively with HR, with finance, with all the department to evaluate the impact, and also, as Iris Riley asked, checking to see the numbers in terms of the pattern previously. But one thing we also need to know is going to change significantly, because there may be people who wouldn't have taken the vacation or the leave because they didn't have it, but now they will because it's available to them and it's paid for. So the pattern will give us an idea, but it can exponentially increase based on the expectation of people's willingness to take the leave now. So we have to be aware of all the pros and cons in making decisions where we go, and it will come with a substantial cost that the county will need to bear.
Yeah, we will have to amend the fiscal policy to manage the replacement pay and the effect it might have, because as you rightly stated, it could be the fact that we're paying additional overtime, which is different from backfilling it. So we need to, not only we have to look at the policy for the HR, we also have to look at the fiscal policy and how we reimburse, and that affects our contingent fund. So we should be planning to budget additional funds in the contingent fund to support that.
Look forward to seeing the study.
Okay, I've got Greg and then Randy.
Yeah, I hope we don't, I hope this is not like when I hear study, I get a little cringy because it seems like it'll take forever to get to something. And so I would hope that we could move this along with some sort of relative, some speed, or put some haste behind this, while still doing a thorough and in-depth and appropriate job. My question was, is there a reason why we haven't opted into the state program? Was there a decision point at some point in legislative history, and when was that?
It was 2018. I'm not sure. There was a decision made by the county administrator at that point, because the New York State paid family leave required 100% contributions from the employees, whether it was on the county level or whether the bargaining unit had 100% to agree. Say, for instance, if white collar was the only bargaining unit, 100% of that membership had to agree for the contributions, and that was difficult to obtain. If the county would have done it as a whole, then that every county employee would be assessed that contribution level based upon the formula of the New York State. So at that time, they did not do it.
So the county administrator made the decision, or was it the legislature?
It was not, I could not find any records from the legislature. It was a review process. All I found in the files were the records, the HR letter, and the ones that was placed on the internet. So I don't know what meetings were held. All I knew was, all I could find out. It was before me.
Yeah, no, that it's, I guess, a little unfortunate, because we could have already had this policy in place.
It was the money, it was the funding, the contribution levels, and the requirement that 100% of employees were assessed that charge.
Yeah, I mean, just like...
Has that requirement changed?
No, but there is an opt-out and an opt-in provision. The county doesn't have to do it as a whole, but if the county is going to fund, if we're looking at funding the employee contribution part, then we could do that because the legislature and the county.
So that's yet another option. Okay, thank you.
So I guess I would, because private employers don't have an option to participate or not to participate.
Right. Public employers have that opt-out.
Which I think is foolish on behalf of the system, just my own opinion. Because I think the more people that are paying into a system, the stronger a system can ultimately be. And with public employees being a large employer in New York State, it would seem that whoever did that wasn't really thinking. So I would be in favor with the employee contribution, and then I would be in favor exploring the county backfilling the difference to make up the whole. But I do believe that we should mirror the system that is in place, and not have our own system per se. So I would be in favor of a state system with employee contribution, and then employer, the county contribution to get to 100% for approved leave under the state program. That would be where I would fall in terms of a vote and in favor.
Okay, thank you. Randy and then Iris.
Yeah, the memo written by WDIC was very good. I liked reading it. It helped me understand the issue quite a bit. And my question is, so is this something that will go through HR and you'll do the analysis, or is this an administration thing? And if so, would this be something you'd be prepared to offer for the 2027 budget?
I would say so. It's a combination. We work together when it's policy review, that it also includes department heads, and as we did with the AI policy with ITS, and we would have info sessions. So, but we have talked about fast tracking it rather than the normal policy review. So it would be a cooperation. And yes, we would have to budget for it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Iris?
Thanks, and I'm glad the memo was helpful. Just wanted to kind of give some context for folks who aren't as familiar with this area. I have a question about process. You said, Ruby, that the membership would have to vote 100%.
For that New York State one, that was the conditions at that time.
And that is every single member must vote for it, not that the union as a whole agrees to it?
All it said was 100% member contribution. So that would be every member in that, every member, if the union voted for it, if it was positive, then every member would be assessed that contribution.
At 100%. Oh, okay. Not that every member must vote for it. Okay.
Right.
So my question is, have folks in HR or administration spoken with some of the union leadership yet to get a sense of where folks are feeling and if there might be sticking points?
We did, HR did. At the initial, before there was a proposal and JEDA was working on it, we contacted the memberships of the union leadership and we had that discussion. So I think they talked with a select group of people in their membership. It was not brought to a vote because at that time there was not anything to vote on. Just a general idea of would you support it or would you not? And based upon those informal conversations, we were told that they could not get 100% in favor of it. So JEDI was tasked with coming up with a proposal that we could present.
Okay, but again, to clarify, they don't need 100% of the members to be in favor of it, right? They just need a majority.
A majority vote.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. I think having a discussion would be great with them just to understand concerns. And as Deborah said, and I believe Randy said, there's an option to potentially also, or instead of, subsidize part of the employee contribution. And there is a formula, which I was talking with Judith about this offline, and she was saying, you know, that rate that the state has set, that 0.0432%, I think, is probably the state calculating that's about how much it would cost times the total payroll, right, for someone to take, for an employer to carry this policy. So that is maybe a number that we can use in some of our study and assessment. Do we have a sense of the time frame for that study?
No, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a study. It's just going through the policy review process.
Okay, great.
It's all internal, and it includes every aspect of our organization, from the department heads to employees to union reps, as well as county admin and HR.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. Last quick point around the parental leave piece of this is my work separately. My understanding is that for the birthing parent, there's already disability leave, right? So someone who's disabled.
For white collar.
Okay,
yes.
Only for white collar.
Right, and there are each union has its own procedures. We have sick time for blue collar. We have sick for corrections and road patrol, but road patrol also has a family caregiver part in it. So each bargaining unit has a little bit different leave.
That's good to know. My understanding is that disability leave for a birthing parent should be treated separately and not run concurrently with the parental leave because there are two different purposes. One is to recover from your own medical condition, and one is to bond with the child. And running them concurrently is actually discriminatory against the birthing parent because they effectively get less time because they're having to bond while also recovering. And I'm curious if that's something that has been kind of looked at.
We have not looked into that at all.
I just wanted to flag that as something for you all in the committee to look at too.
Anyone, or Irene?
Yeah, I appreciate all of the complexities of how this is being thought about to figure out how to implement, but I'm sensing that there's overall support that we're going to do something, and I really appreciate that. So, you know, for me, it's just figuring out the best way to do it. So thank you all. I have a newbie question, and again, creating more work, Ruby, I'm sorry, but hearing you talk about the different unions and their different benefits, I wonder if you can give some sort of summary sheet that would identify the different unions, their different benefits, maybe the number of members in each and when their contracts renew, just so that I have some sense of how all of that would roll out. Thanks.
I would caution us to not keep piling on requests to our department heads. We ask them to do a lot of work for us. I think that perhaps one benefit of moving forward with this particular initiative is that rather than having all these different provisions and all of these different union contracts, we would have one policy for the county, and that would be it. So, I mean, I'm not sure what you thought you would get out of having a spreadsheet and a breakdown of each individual.
An understanding of how things are structured in the county.
But we're changing how they're structured, so why does it matter?
Okay.
I mean,
we're changing everything? We're changing this one policy?
We're changing this one policy, but you're asking for information on how it's been handled. and the policy would change all of that. I just want us to be.
Well, we can't change a negotiated contract without a ratification. So,
Right.
So to Irene's question and hearing Ruby, that it sounds like different bargaining units have some leave already in place for certain things that may be covered under this policy. Some bargaining units have different. So I guess I'm kind of in line with Irene. I don't need a full breakdown, but just to understand what each leave is as it relates to either caregiver, parental, disability, what's been negotiated. Because if the effort is to get to one policy across all bargaining units,
right,
we're going to need to know how to, in essence, bargain those to be different, to get those units to one county policy. And so if there's one that's more advantageous than what the county's putting forward, I don't see how we convince necessarily that bargaining unit to go to those sort of what I'll call the one county policy. So I guess there's an element of this that would be helpful in this conversation, not every single benefit, but as it relates to this policy. And I think that's where you were going, Irene.
Yeah.
I would also support that request as part of this process.
As a part of the policy review, that's part of the initiating discussion as to where are we currently and where do we want to go. So it's in relation to that leave, there is already something that prepared that shows what union has what in relation to caregiving or parental leave.
Okay, great. Good to know. Thanks.
Okay, do we have more questions? Where'd Lee go?
I don't know.
Sounds like
Okay.
another one call.
All right, are we ready to vote? I'd like to wait till Lee comes back. Okay, we're waiting for you. All right, ready to vote. All in favor? That's unanimous, thank you. And thanks to Team Jedi and WDIC and Iris and Rachel for their excellent memo.
And Samantha.
I'm sorry?
It was Rachel Graham and Samantha who was here.
Oh, and Samantha too. Where'd she go? People keep disappearing. All right then. We're moving on to our next resolution. It is a member-filed resolution. Resolution urging the New York State Governor and Legislature to ensure access to child care by enacting the corporate tax bill, S95A1971, the progressive income tax bill, S1622A1281, and the Universal Child Care Act, S3415 and A5899 ID 13934. I will let Veronica move this because it's hers, and Randy seconds it. So, Veronica, you want to speak to this?
Yes. So this is one of those advocate the state to do something.
Point of order. Randy, did you intend to second that?
I'm sorry?
I was waving goodbye to Iris.
Okay. Oh.
Sorry about that.
All right, so who would like to second this? Christy, thank you.
Okay, thank you. No, that makes sense. Oh, I saw Corsa raise his hand too. I was like, of course I can't second this.
Of course you can't second
Also
it.
waving goodbye to Iris. So this is one of those advocacy resolutions asking the state to do something that I know some folks don't like, but I want to make the case for it anyway. Despite the cumbersome title, this is asking, basically asking the state to pass 3 bills that are part of, they're the core bills in this overall tax the rich package. There are more bills related to it, like a bunch of bills aimed at increasing state revenue from the ultra wealthy, both corporate and private people. The 2 bills I mentioned here, the corporate tax bill and the progressive income tax bill, are like the major ones that have a lot of public support, would get a lot of revenue and have a bunch of, they are getting a lot of attention at the Capitol. There are other smaller bills getting less attention. There's a couple that only pertain to New York City that I ignored because we aren't New York City. And what these two would do, the corporate tax bill would increase the corporate tax rate. I put it in here. From 7.25% to 11.5% only on C Corps making more than $5 million in profit per year. I guess I'm not a huge corporate tax rate head, but for comparison, this would make the corporate tax rates almost as high as New Jersey's, not quite. So, nothing crazy. The progressive income tax bill, it would add more tax brackets for incomes beyond $500,000 annually. I think it ups the rate a little bit for income. This is annual income from $500,000 to $1 million, and then some more for annual incomes beyond $1 million, because income taxes are progressive, the rate goes up, but at the moment, state income tax, the rate stops going up after $1 million of income. So this would increase the tax beyond that. That's projected to raise an additional $21 billion a year. Jesus. And so one of the reasons I'm excited about this is, as the best of my knowledge, this does not take any additional money from hardly any, if any, of my constituents. So I've got no problem advocating for this. And also, I think that we at the county we were just talking about budgeting. It's always a struggle to pay for what we need to pay for without squeezing our residents who are already struggling, and we don't have. The only thing we can directly control, the property tax, is fundamentally a regressive tax. We can't, despite huge income inequality, huge wealth inequality, we don't, at the county, have a lever that can bring in revenue correspondingly to try to make things a little less unequal. But the state can. So I think it's worth it to advocate for the state to pass these two bills, to be able to essentially make the ultra-wealthy pay their fair share. And then the third bill in here, the Universal Child Care Act, has a whole bunch of provisions that would move toward establishing free universal child care for children below kindergarten. It includes a bunch of increasing reimbursement rates, starting a pilot program, a task force to figure this out. So it wouldn't be like free childcare tomorrow, but it would be a bunch of steps that would move the state toward having young childcare work more like the public school system, which is also free and universal, and has been for a long time. And obviously we know that childcare is one of the biggest, we have many issues, but that's a very big issue in our county, way not enough of it, way underfunded, barrier to a lot of other things. So these three together, I think, would be a good thing to pass. Now or previously is the time, but these bills could pass after the budget cycle, but they're budget bills, so ideally our state reps would get any advocacy resolutions this month, which this is primed to do if we pass it. One of our reps, actually I think both of our state assembly and member and senator are already sponsors on all of these, but this would be like ammunition for them to advocate. Anna Kellis is the assembly sponsor of the corporate tax bill, and I got to be in Albany the other day and asked her, would it be helpful to have a resolution from the county? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. So that is what this is.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Greg?
Yeah, I would support this with a few amendments, and which I will try to propose in one swoop. And I can give the rationale for why those amendments after I suggest them. So my amendment would be to delete on packet page 69, page 1 of the resolution, lines 32 to 37. And on packet page 70, page 2 of the resolution, delete lines 13 through 15. And then on line 19, starting at which will to line 20, ending with New York State, remove those. And I would so move that as an amendment.
On line 19 and 20, did you want to remove New Yorkers?
No, I would remove the words after the parentheses and I guess replace the comma with a period.
Oh, okay. So the question becomes, is that friendly to the mover and the seconder?
You need a second, I think, don't
It's
you?
okay, as long as it's friendly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, it's not friendly, mainly because I want to hear the rationale before.
Okay, yeah, I would like to hear the rationale.
Okay, so it needs a second then.
I will second it for the purpose of hearing the rationale.
I would prefer not to editorialize this resolution and just have it be stated in a matter of fact. We're adjusting tax brackets, we're adjusting the corporate tax. I don't like this concept of tax the rich or tax the ultra wealthy. I want to know what those definitions are. I don't think they're defined in the resolution. And again, when it comes to these, I'm very much in support of childcare, very much in support of the state raising taxes, very much in support of tax brackets being adjusted to encompass more income brackets. I just would prefer to have the editorializing of the resolution removed.
I guess I'll speak if no one else wants to. I mean, I think that's fair, Greg. I think it makes it more likely that this will pass the entire legislature. And for that reason, I would support it. Anyone else? Irene?
Yeah, I have a slight modification. I'm okay with the rationale too. A slight modification on.
We should vote on the amendment first.
Say what?
We have to vote on the amendment first.
Yeah.
If she's making another amendment.
It's a modification to the amendment, so it's an amendment to the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I should have clarified that. On lines 19 and 20, if I'm understanding, Greg, you wanted to remove the entire clause that follows the comma by the bill number. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially delete which will ensure the wealthiest New Yorkers pay their fair share and increase tax revenue for New York State.
Yeah, and so my amendment to the amendment, hopefully friendly, is to have it say, which will cancel out, ensure the wealthiest New Yorkers pay their fair share and leave, so it would ultimately read, which will increase tax revenues for New York State.
I would find that friendly.
Okay, so which will increase tax revenues for New York State?
Yeah, so we're taking out from the word ensure through the word and.
So it would read, comma, which will increase tax revenues for New York State.
Yeah.
Period.
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 Would be a comma to go into the next resolve statement, but yes.
Yes. Yeah, or sorry, comma, not period. That's friendly to me as a mover, Deborah.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think it's important. I mean, I take your concerns because this tax the rich thing tends to make some people really uncomfortable. I mean, and that's the implication of all of this anyway. I would reiterate something that I've heard for all 8 years that I was on the legislature from people more experienced than myself, which is that with these, Shauna calls these feel-good resolutions. I don't know that that's entirely accurate, but these are resolutions where we support somebody else doing something that we can't do for ourselves. That mostly all that gets read in Albany or Washington, wherever we send this, is the title of the resolution and the resolves. And all the stuff in the middle is just noise. So I think it's worth considering that we not expend a whole lot of political capital in Sturm und Drang with each other over the whereas clauses, as long as the factual case is accurately stated, which it is. You did a very nice job on this.
It's a good resolution.
Does anybody else want to speak to the amendment? Randy?
I just have a question. I struggle to give the state more money not knowing where it's going to end up. So is the in these laws that are being proposed, would the money being generated be guaranteed to go towards child care and these other things?
It would not, no. The two revenue bills don't specify where the money would go.
But
yeah.
But logically, if the state's getting X extra dollars and instituting a program that's going to cost Y extra dollars that's less than X, the tax bills will offset the additional cost of the program bill. It doesn't need to be earmarked, is my understanding.
Something I was thinking of including and then frankly forgot by the end was including a resolved that like we call upon the state to use a bunch of this additional revenue to fund your own local mandates already, but I didn't include that, but I'd be open to more diplomatic addition of language.
Yeah, I'm not sure putting that in, this is very specific. I don't know that we want to detract from what your aim is here. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think funds from a tax increase need to be earmarked because it's just going to go into paying for the overall budget. Other questions? Ready to vote?
On the amendment.
On the amendment. Okay, all in favor of the amendment? Okay, that's all opposed? Okay. Now, are we ready to vote on the final resolution? Okay, all in favor of the resolution? Okay, that's 5, all opposed? Predictably, yes, thank you.
Two damn Republicans.
No offense, it's laudable that you're looking to see universal child care. I just can never support a resolution to increase income taxes or any taxes at the New York State level. We're heading down the same road as California, and people can't afford to live here, and I've had a whole weekend of people talking about their energy bills and state policy that is contributing toward that. And I appreciate it. And if there were some mechanisms in here that would go toward addressing the inequities in long-term care for our elderly, well, I might consider something like that, because I'm seeing some much more desperate problems, I think, that exist in New York under the structure of the state budget right now. Personal thing.
Well, I appreciate that. But on the other hand, I think you need to understand, if you want to see more money spent on any program, that money's got to come from somewhere. And the only place it can come from is higher taxes.
Or less spending.
Or less spending.
Yeah.
But he's asking for more spending.
Sure, you can ask for more raising tax is not the only way to balance a budget. I just want to make that clear for my friends.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. I think our business is finished. Taylor, I would just ask you when you do the minutes to put our goals in the minutes verbatim.
Okay.
So we have a record.
Yep.
Is there anything anyone else wants to talk about? Look at that, we got done in time. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Bring my boutonniere on.